put that game away. It could have been 4-0 in the first 20 minutes, and they weren't able to do so, and that's why he says for this matchup, he wants to see them try and put the game away in that first 20.
You hear it all the time in sports. Sometimes a loss like that is a nice reality check. It's a refocusing moment. You mentioned Air Force, a little bit bumpy down the stretch. See if they're able to round it back into form. Do or die time for both sides. Semi number 2 underway in Riverside. As California Baptist in the road navy blue kits, white numerals and a gold stripe, running parallel to the white across the chest. Air Force in their white kits and royal blue numerals on the back. A beautiful Friday night for soccer. Temperatures will dip down as things go on, but 66 degrees as we get it going. And certainly very pleasant conditions for the men's soccer tournament here in Riverside, California on this Veterans Day. And a big thank you to all veterans, both current and former service members. And great to see Air Force competing on Veterans Day as well.
Certainly, and you know, what's really incredible about Air Force is the dedication that these men have to, one, serving our country, but also, you know, athletics, academics. I'll tell you this, last night we get back to the hotel, Air Force staying at the same hotel that the wonderful WAC crew is staying at, 12:30, you know who's down there? 2 Air Force guys, they're finishing a paper. You know, it's the dedication. I talked to head coach Doug Hill about it, and he said, you know, these guys are dedicated. You know, they have to do it. They have that mindset. They know what it takes to be able to be a top collegiate athlete, but also, you know, to excel in the classroom as well.
Disciplined in every facet, and that's what it takes to be a student athlete at the Air Force Academy. And excelling both on and off the field. There's an early opportunity, and angling in was Tyler Johnson, but Nolan Premack was able to nab it and deny the early effort from the Falcons. An early start time, in fact, the earliest start time the Lancers have played here at this brand new CBU Soccer Stadium. If you're just joining us for the first time in this tournament, first year the Lancers have played here. Took a 2-year hiatus from campus as this was being built. And the Lancers happy to be here. The point I was bringing up about the start time, you see the shadows, an interesting facet. They won't be with us for too long. Sunset less than an hour away now, so only for part of this first half, really, it will be a factor. With daylight savings, the sun sets before 5 o'clock here local time now.
It is crazy. You know, it feels like it's so much later out when it's dark out at 5, but, you know, then at 6 a.m. when I was up this morning, sun bright, shining.
It will be interesting to see the factor, if there is one, of A, potential rust for Air Force, or B, potential fatigue for California Baptist, or if they have leftover momentum from their win against Utah Valley. Those storylines, of course, could have been talked about in the first semifinal as well, but I think it's even more so for CBU playing at home with the fans on their side as well. As there's Thomas Beecham with a great defensive play. The senior from Australia, not afraid to get in there, play physical, and you see it right there. Here's Brian Gonzalez on a run for CBU. Gonzalez to the 18, puts it in front to Aquino. Back out Mueller, his shot deflected on top and over the top of Cage, but a good early effort for CBU.
Yeah, that was really good counterattack. That's really good defense translating into your offense, and something to look out for. Look who's in goal for Air Force. It's Jacob Stone. This is his second collegiate start. He started last match against Grand Canyon. That was a 2-0 performance, earning his first shutout. But that's because John Bajzowski got injured, so he's kind of thrust into the starting role. And head coach Doug Hill had mentioned, he said, you know, there was a lot of confidence built in that one game. He said he felt like he built a lot of confidence and trust with that back line. But he said, you know, it's a really great performance. We just hope he can be able to do it again.
Lower body injury for the senior starting goalkeeper, as you mentioned, from nearby Mission Viejo, a Santa Margarita High School product. And so you said it, Stone thrust into the spotlight, and he will have to get the job done, not only tonight, but the Falcons hope Sunday as well.
Yeah, John Bajewski had started pretty much every single match of the season before this Grand Canyon one. This junior, Jacob Stone, had played in just 4 games this season. First collegiate start was against Grand Canyon, so it's a big test for this keeper who didn't participate in many games his freshman year or sophomore year. I don't believe he saw any action, and so this is his moment. See what he can do with it.
And here he's being challenged again, Eliohan, but a nice job cutting off Brian Eliohan was Nick Bourgeois, the senior out of Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah, I just did confirm that. So freshman year, sophomore year, didn't see any action. So what a moment for the junior to be able to step up and hopefully guide the Falcons to a victory.
And it's been a tournament storyline that Kendra and I have spotlighted over and over. Unsung heroes stepping up in the moment, and certainly a chance for the Falcons keeper today. Ahead by Cordes, sent back out, chipped from the 18 by Bjarnason, and it was wide. And it will be a goal kick for the Falcons.
When you ask head coach Doug Hill, what he likes about Stone, and he says, he's an athletic keeper. He's got a good presence. He's got good vertical. He's got confidence. He's a great shot stopper. Said he would like to see him be a little bit more vocal in the back. That goalkeeper is really responsible for setting up that defense and seeing the width of the field and length of the field and setting it up. So he would see a little bit of improvement there, but making his second collegiate start, that's going to come with more experience.
Stone, 6'2", 190 out of Anchorage, Alaska. Making his way to Colorado Springs. So play it back out to Premack. A lot of talk by Stone. Lancers have a good keeper on their side, and Nolan Premack, a guy that we chatted about in the opening round win. A young man who's been through so much this year, both on and off the field. But he's playing some of his best soccer of the year at the right time. Here's Mueller. Hit to center for Gonzalez, one of the most experienced Lancers with an open run. Gonzalez off to the far side, the direction of Aquino. Lincoln Aquino, back to Bjarnason. 7 minutes into the opening half. Here's Adolfo Pino, who scored against Utah Valley. On the wing on the far side, Bjarnason chips it up. Cordes was in the general direction. He has it now. David Cordes sends it back out to Pino. Freshman out of Spain. A touch to Beecham. A give and go from Pino. Beecham. And a nice job by the Falcons defense to hold strong, but they cannot get it out of the attacking third. Lancers now will set it back near center.
I will say the one benefit for Air Force with having this new keeper in net for the Falcons is they have a veteran back line. There's 9 seniors on this roster. They have a lot of guys with a lot of experience. This isn't the first time that they've made the postseason. This isn't the first time that they've played in the NCAA postseason tournament before, and so they do have a lot of minutes, a lot of experience, which certainly helps when you have a new goalkeeper thrust into the starting lineup.
Just taken away by Luke Hill. And Hill tried to find Dewing, and miscommunication between Dewing and Jake Angeletti. Lancers have it back. Mueller with a good ball to Eliohan. Space for Brian Eliohan. But a solid save by Jacob Stone. And the early returns solid for Stone.
Talk about a way to build confidence right off the bat, not only with that entire back line, but in yourself. That was an incredible save, a great stop. He was in the right position. It may be his second collegiate start, but that was a very veteran save.
The nerves might be a factor for everyone on the pitch, certainly potentially for Jacob Stone, but a stop like that can extinguish a bunch of nerves because there was no time to be nervous. That was full-on reaction, and they were very sound movements to deny what would have been an early goal.
And that's something that head coach Doug Hill had talked about. It's not easy to build trust among your back line as a keeper in one match, but he said that Stone had that ability, and we just saw a perfect example of why it's so easy to trust a goalkeeper when you have a breakdown like that, and he's able to make that stop to keep this a clean sheet.
And it's no surprise, really, Kendra. You don't win conference titles without solid depth throughout, and Air Force, as great of a season as they had, that 6-0 start, 7-1-1 final record in conference. That takes an entire team from starters to the final guy on the roster who might not play a lot. And certainly Stone, a storyline as the night goes on, rocking the orange kit in net. Here's Pino. Solid defense by Bourgeois. And Stone will hammer it past center. Lancers the aggressor so far offensively, you got to say, through the first 10 minutes and change. Playing with that extra emotion, extra adrenaline perhaps, of playing this tournament at home.
I've had a chance to talk to several head coaches on this campus in various sports about the opportunity to play in the NCAA postseason, and head coach Co Michelson had said, there's a difference between wanting to win and ending your season on a positive note and needing to win to be able to give yourself a chance to play in that WAC tournament championship and have an NCAA tournament berth.
An extra buzz in practice the final regular season week, knowing, hey, our season does not end here. Cordes. Falcons able to get it out of the box momentarily and end up clearing for a second. Not fully, and a strike with the left foot. Runs high by Anthony Vargas, but again, an aggressive start for CBU.
You always wonder, with California Baptist having played just 2 nights ago, will they come out with that intensity? Of course, this is a team that likes to push the pace. They like to get the ball up, but you wonder when those legs start to tire. But also keep in mind, this is a conference schedule where they play Friday and then they play Sunday. So they are technically used to playing, this close together. But Air Force, having that bye, do they come out flat-footed? It seems like they are a bit in this first half.
Bourgeois off to the far side. Hito. A great atmosphere tonight. Solid amount of supporters for Air Force as well as California Baptist. The Academy always travels well, of course.
Certainly, they do an extensive amount of travel during the regular season. They really had just one true home match this season. They're used to playing on the road, and they're used to being able to pull out victories in hostile environments.
Here's Luke Hill. Touched off to Angeletti, who's inside the box. Swarmed by 3 Lancers. Angeletti was able to fight them off for a while. Mueller had it deflected off of him. To Staup. Hito. Back into the center circle. No stoppages yet. A couple of early opportunities for the Lancers of California Baptist. They've taken 4 shots, 1 on goal. Air Force yet to get a shot off. They're in their attacking third right here. Deflected off of Cordes, as that was Staup who was trying to line up across. And a nice job by Cordes to get in front of it. Thrown in front. And Staup, defended by Mueller. Pino runs forward, and a nice play on Staup. These are 2 teams that don't mind getting physical either, and that could be a storyline as this night goes on.
Certainly, and you'll look for the center official and what he allows. Usually within that first 15, first 20 minutes, he'll establish what each referee is a little bit different, allows a little bit more physicality than some, and so the teams really get a feel for what's going to be allowed and how much you can really push that boundary in terms of physicality pretty early on in this first half.
And both sides will be testing those limits until that is established. Here's Cordes, who is onside, steps through, sends to center. Pino has space, hesitates with the left, and it was just denied off to the right of goal. Adolfo Pino, who scored from nearly that exact same spot in the opening round win. The freshman just missed out on that attempt.
Pino is somebody that you cannot give any sort of space to. He's going to strike the ball from any distance. He has a phenomenal shot. He kind of caught the goalkeeper in our first match against Utah Valley, just starstruck, but it was such a great shot from the freshman.
Corner kick is handled and booted high into the other side of the field. And that was actually a nice job by Aguido, the senior from Valencia, California, and Hart High School, who actually got a foot on that shot to deny it.
Our WAC Defensive Player of the Year, and for good reason. I got a chance to speak with him when he was at practice, and of course it was an honor, but he said it's just the hard work that this team has put in. They have a goal and they want to achieve that.
Here's Brian Gonzalez, who had space and almost looked like Gonzalez was ready to move with that ball before he fully had it within his grasp.
Aguido is also a player who has really worked in the off season to clean up his diet. He said, I don't eat nearly as much junk food as I did last season. He wants to be healthier. He wants to be in better shape. It's certainly showing. He was our WAC preseason Defensive Player of the Year, and so he said it was really nice to prove people right and end the season as the WAC Defensive Player of the Year.
And I can relate. I need to maybe take some words from him and cut out some of that junk food as well.
Well, it's funny because when I was speaking to him, I said, hey, what's your pre-match routine? He said, well, I sleep as long as I can.
It's a mood.
And I'm like, well,
a mood.
I'm right there with you, man. If I could sleep till noon, I'll do it. Of course, I'm not in college anymore, but still.
Except for these Air Force students don't have that much time to sleep.
Certainly, he was also one of the guys that was up at 12:30, and I shouldn't have said last night, excuse me, it was the night before, working on that paper, and he said just the dedication, you got to get it done. It's just a great testament to the way that these student athletes take academics as well as their athletics so seriously.
Gotta say, a very exciting opening 15 minutes of this one. The atmosphere to match, and Air Force withstood that opening punch from CVU. Came out with a lot of intensity, a lot of emotion. Trying to steady the seas and hold serve. Not an easy position for a #1 seed. You work so hard to get that, and then you have to play a de facto road game in your opening match of this conference tournament. Just the way the bracket worked this year.
Air Force also playing with those 9 seniors. You know, this is a team that is playing every match like it could be their last time on the pitch. There's 9 guys who, if they're one and done, their college career is over. And head coach Doug Hill said they play like that.
Great move by Cordes to get some space on Luke Hill before it was sent out. Cordes will throw it back into Gonzalez. Here's Pino. The Spaniard in the middle for CBU. Adolfo Pino, not a big guy, just 5'7", 139 pounds. He has been an impressive freshman, one of many. Part of the all-freshman team in this conference. Angeletti was knocked down. No whistle, and we play on. Hasn't been blown yet, the whistle, and Angeletti will eventually start to get up, it appears. So we continue to play on, and Gonzalez now has a run for the Lancers. He takes a shot. It is denied. What a strike from Brian Gonzalez. Now it's Mueller. The edge of the box, and he has it taken away, but what a stop by Jacob Stone.
He is playing with so much confidence out there. That is a really massive stop. That's his second one this match. He's 6'2", he's got that big body, he has an athletic frame. Head coach Doug Hill said he's a great shot stopper, and we just saw that right there. He doesn't make those 2 stops. This is a very different match very early on, as I feel like Air Force isn't necessarily coming out with that intensity that I think head coach Doug Hill would want. We kind of saw that actually in the first match when San Jose State came out flat in those first 15 minutes. Of course, they were obviously able to turn things around, secure their spot to the championship, but certainly a similar situation here.
The clock finally did stop for Angeletti, who is still slow to get up, and he's over with the team trainer for Air Force as we speak. So there will be a change, I believe. But that was part of the reason the Lancers had that advantage. Angeletti was slow to get up. The play was not blown dead.
That was an interesting call by the referee to allow that play to continue on really as long as it did, because usually that's only in the case of that team having the advantage, and that really wasn't the case. You had an Air Force player down, and California Baptist still able to run with it.
The clutch play of Stone is able to deny what would have been an opening goal from Brian Gonzalez. 19 minutes into this first half, here's Gonzalez again, a senior who absolutely has been cherishing this potential moment. And it will be a goal kick for the Falcons. Vuvuzela's back on hand tonight here in Riverside.
Those Vuvuzelas.
You're getting closer.
Oh, come on.
Vuvuzelas.
Oh, Vuvuzela. Gosh.
Yeah, you got it.
I'm done.
There. You got it there. Turned into somewhat of a...
Head coach Simon Tobin, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
They turned into almost a fabled lore here surrounding the Lancer program. Made for a good atmosphere here in Riverside throughout the season, and definitely here tonight as well. Kendra mentioned Simon, the head man at San Jose State, who opened up our call the other day talking about when we were discussing Vuvuzelas on day one of the tournament.
He said, Kendra, I won't answer any questions from you until you say it right. So there we go. I guess I won't be talking to him again as well.
But that means I'm a bad partner, because I should not have lobbed that up there. So
yeah,
that is
rude.
that is my fault.
We like to have fun on this broadcast, too. And it's all jokes. These coaches have been absolutely incredible all week and speaking with our broadcast team and really giving us a lot of insight. And so we really do appreciate the time that they take as they're preparing for their matches. And they have very busy practice schedules and everything else. So just a thank you to all those coaches.
Without a doubt. There's Cordes as the wind gusting a bit more, at least up at our level in the press box. Bjarnason with a pretty good ball in the direction of Iliohan, but it was defended nicely by the Falcons. There's Bjarnason again off to Pino inside the center circle. Played back to Beecham.
A great crowd here for California Baptist, as you have double duty today as the voice of the Lancers doing play-by-play for the radio. There's a men's basketball game following this at 7 p.m. and so we're getting a really, really good crowd out here that will likely go over to the event center and cheer on the Lancers men's team as well.
Expecting a near sellout of men's basketball tonight as well, nearly 5,000. So definitely a busy day on campus, and turned out very nicely that it also is Parents and Family Weekend. I always loved that when I was in school. Your family coming to town, get some free food, get some home-cooked meals potentially. It's always lovely.
Certainly, and if you're a college student like I was, you wait. If you're out of anything, out of paper towels, you try and hang on as long as you can till your parents come and say, hey, Mom, I might be out of paper towels. Shout out to my parents. I know they're watching. Kim and Scott, thank you for all your support and for all the paper towels you supplied me in college.
That is, we must have been very similar college students. As Premack battling the sun. When Premack looks off to the left, you got to imagine he's going to be facing a very, very strong sunlight image.
Yeah, you could see even as he was trying to distribute the ball from the back, he had his glove over his eyes. It's a really tough angle, and that's something to certainly look out for because Stone doesn't have that.
Here's Iliohan, who is onside. Had to slow. Crowd approves of that call. 22 minutes to go in this first half. And a change will come on for CBU as Lincoln Aquino will check out. Leo Mendez in for the Lancers. Mendez was a star in their win against Utah Valley. Here's Mueller. Tried to get in touch with Gonzalez, could not. That ball will again go out of play, and it will remain on CBU's possession.
Mendez was such a catalyst for this team in the first match. He had a goal, he had an assist off the bench, and he did it when really the Lancers really needed that momentum.
A late whistle and a foul on California Baptist. Gonzalez gives off Eliohan. Here's Brian Eliohan. Top 10 in college soccer in points last season. Had another very strong year as well. It's been hot recently. Beecham. Off to Mueller. Lewis Mueller able to get around a defender. Here's Lewis Mueller. But it's the defensive player of the year who is able to catch back up and show just why he was so deserving of that award there against one of the fine attackers in Mueller. That's a fun matchup.
That is certainly a great matchup because one of Mueller's strengths is that 1v1. He wants to go at defenders. He wants to beat them.
Just high on that cross. Gonzalez tracks it down as angling in on the flying attack. That was a very close situation, and Anthony Vargas, who had that first strike, also in the picture on that effort.
Lancers so far doing a great job switching the field, using their momentum, using those triangles, finding ways to break down that veteran Air Force defense and generate some opportunities, especially early on in this first half.
Bussey. In the far side corner, it's touched out of play, and Air Force will keep possession. Closest official was center official and didn't have a great look at it. Of course, the two CBU defenders were pleading that it'd go the other way. Not sure you can trust their opinions. Maybe a little bit of a slanted opinion there.
Certainly. They did a great job, though, of covering that and staying goal side and not allowing that cross. It was a 2v1 situation. They did a great job there.
And still, you got to say, possession has been controlled by California Baptist. Although anything can change rather quickly. Here's Dewing. Just beyond the arc, the Falcons looking to get something together offensively. Chavitz dopes through. His shot was deflected and finds the oven mitts of Nolan Premack.
Nolan Premack is just an incredible story. You talked to head coach Co Michelson, who mentioned that they've loved Premack since he was 15, showing up at their ID camp out of nowhere and just really wanted to be a Lancer and kept working at it.
Young man who's battled through a bunch of major adversity this season, lost his mom early on in the season. This team rallied around him. Only missed one game after that. Very difficult situation, of course. Premack also a very smart kid as well, as plans becoming a surgeon after his playing days are over.
4.0 pre-med student. He's had double hip surgery. He loses his mother in the preseason, and that just goes to show an incredible man who overcomes so much emotional heartache. And to be able to step on the pitch with the intensity, the energy, and the positive light that he brings to this team, it's truly remarkable.
Dealing with things bigger than soccer and battling through and getting the job done still. A foul called on Air Force, meanwhile.
Wind continues to pick up here in Riverside. Look at that potentially becoming a factor, especially with those balls in the air. Also a factor up here in the broadcast booth as my papers just went flying. A special shout out to my wonderful play-by-play guy, Braden Bell, for tracking down a few of those loose papers.
I'm drawing inspiration from our goalkeepers. Quick reflexes. Gotta have them. Bourgeois.
Right.
has possession for Air Force. Just a touch under 16 and a half minutes to go in this first half. A first half that, frankly, has gone about as well as it could for CBU without scoring a goal thus far. And Air Force, you know, so dangerous at any given moment. The top seed in this tournament. The 2-seed San Jose State Spartans await the winner. Mueller has space. It was covered up quickly. Mueller gives off to Gonzalez. And a nice job playing from behind was Luke Hill to draw that away.
It was really tactically sound defensive work from Agadou in terms of putting his body, adding pressure to the ball, giving Lewis Mueller no space, forcing him to have to turn, pass that ball back. Look at that. We have some divers in the background. We mentioned this on the broadcast on Wednesday, that we also get a show back here because our...
There's contact in the box and no call. Still alive, an open net, and the Lancers do not strike. That was off the side. Oh, that was oh so close, however.
The players heard us talking about the divers, said, hey, no, hold on a second. We're making some moves here. That was a really great opportunity, especially on that side as we take another look at that, generating that space.
Leo Mendez,
a
nearly.
Great look just outside the near post.
Wow. And with the students lining to the right of the goal, by their reaction, it almost appeared as though that shot by Mendez might have found the back of net. Instead, we remain scoreless as a change comes on for California Baptist.
This is a great opportunity for the Air Force Falcons backline to really settle in, to understand, yes, there were some chances, but hey, it's still 0-0. There's an opportunity for them to put the ball in the back of the net and go up. Credit to Jacob Stone for stopping 2 potential goals, and then also he was in really good position on that near post, really giving California Baptist not a lot of angle there, and so just incredible work there and really allowing the back line to, hey, settle in.
Emil DeConnick checks in for Anthony Vargas for California Baptist.
But with the divers in the background, that just goes to show you there's so much going on this campus. The athletic facilities are so close together. Beautiful facilities here in Riverside.
That ball by Beecham will find the pool. The divers are going to have to go retrieve that.
On your screen, you also get a nice diving show as well.
There you go. Just to the east of CBU Soccer Stadium. Nationally ranked water polo programs here at California Baptist as well. They often play Air Force as well in the pool in water polo.
Air Force, an affiliate member of the WAC in both men's soccer as well as swimming.
Premack gets a rare touch in what has been a quiet half for him, something I'm sure he's A-okay with. His defense has done a fine job in front of him, limiting threats that found Premack.
One of the things you really want to do early on is test your keeper. Find ways where you can exploit the keeper. Of course, they watch a ton of films on these guys, so they do have an idea of where their weaknesses are, but especially a guy like Jacob Stone. California Baptist did a really good job of testing that keeper. There's not a lot of film on this guy. There's not a lot that teams know about him, and so really getting those shots off early. Well, you tested him, you saw he's a pretty good shot blocker.
So far, he has passed the pop quizzes with flying colors. This ball's taken away. Agdu again in the middle of the action. That's no surprise, wearing the captain's armband, and such an impressive young man from a great athletic high school in Hart High.
Air Force also, I was out on the practice pitch all day yesterday, getting a chance to watch these guys as they prepare for today's matchup. And Air Force, they just are a fun group, you know, and that's when the head coach Doug Hill had said it's been a pleasure coaching these guys. They're really coachable. They're guys that are veterans, and they're still open to coaching, which you said is a really positive thing when you're looking at student athletes.
It's taken away. Here's Pino. Off to Gonzalez. And out to Connick in middle. The senior out of Belgium. So many international players on this CBU roster. Connick, yet another one. Here's Pino out of Spain. Nice job cutting off yet again. Zagadou, who just is relentless. So valuable to this Air Force attack and defensive juggernaut.
Certainly, that back line has been so solid for the Falcons all season. They have not given up many goals, and it's a lot with that veteran presence.
Here's a good ball sliding in to make a stop momentarily, but there will be a whistle, and it will be California Baptist goal kick. Nice sliding effort over on that far side.
California Baptist also had the opportunity to go on a foreign trip this summer from July 29th to August 7th. And not only is that an incredible experience for the student athletes to experience another culture, but it also gives them 10 extra days of practice. They're allowed to come to campus 10 days earlier in order to prepare for the trip. They played 3 games against international opponents, giving them an opportunity to play against teams that they normally would never have an opportunity to really learn a lot about this team.
Might not sound like a lot, but 10 days can be a ton with a group that has some new faces that put everything in to this weekend. All eyes were on this tournament all year long. Beautiful sunset, a great night for soccer.
It is absolutely beautiful on this campus, and you'll see there's the mountains in the background. You have the palm trees. It's really a stunning field, and this is something that CBU is so proud of. Oh my gosh, look at that beautiful sunset. Just so proud of after having to essentially play road games or neutral site for the past couple seasons.
Gives new meaning to no place like home, no doubt about it, after you don't get a game on campus for over 2 years. Here's a run and an angle at net. Crossing, stopped by Premack. Wow. A near unobstructed view of net, and Nolan Premack steps up and gets the job done to keep us scoreless.
That is a huge save from Premack. He was able to read that shot very well. That's a tough situation when you have those defenders and you have a limited view of the field, and he was able to make that stop, keep this a 0-0 contest.
Elijah Bussey showed the wheels, got by DeConnick. But it was all Premack stepping up when needed.
A lot of times for goalkeepers, you don't want to be beat that near post, and so he was doing a great job protecting that near post, and Bussey, going for that far post. Premack does a great job reading that shot, reacting well, and making that stop. That is a huge stop for that goalkeeper.
Just under 8 minutes to go in this first half. Lancers out shooting Air Force 8-2.
Premack is also a guy that head coach Co Michelson talked so highly about just in his pursuit of greatness. He said this is a guy that continues to work harder and harder each and every day. He said he's relentless in his will to be great. He puts in the work. He's a great leader, and obviously a guy that has overcome so much. Just an incredible locker room guy for this team.
Substitutions to tell you about: Jordan Lane and Kieran Robson for CBU, Joey Betts and Nick Bisagno for the Falcons of Air Force. Cordes will just cycle it back to Premack. They had to rush that off on a fine attack by Joey Betts, who just checked in, has those fresh legs, has that energy, and drew a mistake from Premack, who was unable to clear. So a throw in for Air Force. And Staup. He'll do the honors. Throwing at the edge of the 18. DeConnick able to head it out. Gonzalez sidestepping one defender. Was calling for a whistle. Did not get it. Mueller with an aggressive charge in. And it will be Falcon possession as Lewis Mueller ran straight through Bisagno, who just checked in. Bourgeois played back out to center. And Kendra, no goals yet in this first half, but it is very, very clear to say that this has been intense all the way through. Very exciting first half of play.
Certainly, I think the Falcons came out a little bit flat in that first 20 minutes of play, forcing their goalkeeper, Jacob Stone, to make some pretty incredible saves. California Baptist coming out with that high intensity that head coach Co Michelson wanted to see. Air Force, though, has done a great job generating chances, especially testing Premack early. Premack has come up pretty big in that save. And so right now it's a tough battle, and it's just going to be a matter of who can capitalize on the few chances that are likely to be given from both defensive lines.
Both sides hoping to remain this solid pace and not have any mistakes in these final 5 minutes. A scoreless battle thus far. Here's Chavitz. Shadows no longer a factor of periwinkle sky. And Beecham will touch, but first a whistle. It's launched in the direction of Premack, and an interesting decision there on the free kick to launch all the way to goal from near the midfield line.
I think that was a little bit too hard on the touch there. I think he wanted it closer to that 18-yard box. A little bit too far, giving Premack an opportunity to just corral that one in.
Angeletti. Kozak ends up with it for California Baptist. Here's Grady Kozak. Giving a chance for Leo Mendez, but again, sound like a broken record. Jadu is there.
What you saw there also was calmness, composure. This is a guy that has played so many minutes in a Falcon uniform. You can see it on the pitch. That was a tough situation. He did not react in any sort of way that felt like he was under pressure. It seemed like that's just something that he normally does, which it is. That WAC Defensive Player of the Year has been incredible for the Falcons all season.
Here's Brian Gonzalez. Takes a tumble. Still will be Lancer possession in Jordan Lane. 3:20 to go in this first half. Kozak. Off to Jordan Lane. The edge of the box. Mendez. And a little bit too strong of a touch, but a nice job by Pino to battle for it. Maintain possession at least momentarily. Here comes Air Force on the counter. Just out of reach, and that was unfortunate as Joey Betts had a lot of open space. Betts was still giving chase as Premack launched it all the way downfield, and now a whistle and a foul against CBU.
Credit to Premack there with his composure also under pressure. He takes that touch and is able to launch it all the way up the field, beginning a potential attack. But he was under pressure, certainly, from the Falcons offense.
Sagno fires from distance and handled easily by Premack. Nolan Premack's first half. 2 saves now. Matching Jacob Stone. Premack uses his left this time. Kozak heads it up to Mendez. A run and an opportunity, but cut off very nicely by Tyler Johnson. That one's launched into the first row.
Head coach Doug Hill describing Johnson as a tenacious defender, and he did just that. That was a really solid, technically, tactically sound defensive work in order to cut off what was a potential Lancer attack right there.
80 seconds and counting to go until halftime. In the first half, that has been intense throughout. Scoreless as well. Those two things definitely can coincide, as we have seen.
Certainly momentum can be such a powerful thing in the game of soccer. Wanting that goal going into halftime, having that extra edge is something that both teams are so desperately fighting for at this current moment, under a minute to play in that first half.
Thomas Beecham showing off the moves, getting it across center. Final 35 seconds of this first half. Falcons trying to make a late push. It's DeSagnol. And the Lancers will have a throw in for the final 20. See if they have enough time for one final push.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
And that will do it for this first half. Scoreless after 45 minutes, but no shortage of intensity. The top-seeded Air Force Falcons playing a road match to open the tournament, and the 5th-seeded Lancers of CBU looking nothing like a 5th seed. This has been a battle. We're at halftime here on ESPN+. We'll take a timeout and be back. And we entered this tournament telling you any of the 6 teams could win, and it would not be a shock. Well, the 2 seed already in the final. Will it be the 1 seed or the 5 seed CBU joining them? 45 minutes left in regulation time to decide potentially who would go. Of course, overtime a possibility as well.
Certainly, and we saw in the regular season a change to the NCAA men's soccer rules in which there was no overtime in the regular season. Ties, draws were allowed to happen, which hasn't happened in years past, where you were forced to play overtime. And overtime rules have also changed. It's 2 10-minute periods, and it's no golden goal, play the full time. So you do go to overtime, and you are potentially looking like CBU to play a 3rd match. Extra 20 minutes is a lot on these legs.
No doubt. And if you're a San Jose State Spartan fan at home, you might be rooting for that overtime between these 2 sides.
Certainly, two matches within 2 days isn't terrible. It's how the regular season is set up. These teams play Friday, they play Sunday. But when you push that 3rd match to be played in that short amount of time, it is really, really tough on these legs.
We switch sides in the second half. California Baptist will be attacking from left to right. And Air Force in the white kit will be moving right to left.
I think you have to look at this also as a game of 2 halves. So for Air Force, head coach Doug Hill wanted to put the game away in the first 20 minutes. Obviously that didn't happen. I imagine that halftime talk would be about, hey, let's come out with the intensity that we didn't necessarily have in that first half. Let's look at this as a whole new matchup. Let's get out there with this first 20 minutes and let's see if we can capitalize on some of our chances. Get the ball to doing cross it over. He's really good off of crosses and finishing those pieces.
2 squads that love to attack early on in halves. That's absolutely true, and it will be paramount for both of these sides to be on their games in the opening 20 of this second. Here's Mueller, off to Bjarnason. Bjarnason from the wing, chips it in, across, Iljohan, and he just pulled it off to the left on a great cross from Bjarnason.
Was an incredible cross, and once again, just a little bit too far over, getting that outside post just a little bit too far off frame, but these are great chances that California Baptist is generating early on like we saw in that first half. They are not letting their foot off the gas pedal.
Second great chance that has gone off the side of the cage. It's Kozak. Gives off to Vargas, and out of play, and a throw in for Air Force.
More fans continue to pile into this Beautiful stadium that sits 500 spectators in the stands, and there's room for another 1,000 spectators, standing room along the edges of the pitch. Really great crowd for the home team, looking to punch their ticket to the WAC championship in their first season eligible to do so.
And what a moment that would be. Air Force has other plans, of course. Falcons try to piece something together, something that's been hard for them so far. Premax made a couple of nice saves, but for the most part has not been challenged all that much so far in this one.
2 saves apiece for both goalkeepers, each one of them coming up with a big-time save that could have changed the trajectory of that first half.
Without question. Early moments of this second half, already a good opportunity for California Baptist. See what Air Force can piece together. See if they can get the ball to Thaddeus Dewing, who was very quiet by his standards in that first half. Take a look and keep an eye on number 10 in white. Dewing, the sophomore, or rather the junior from Colorado Springs. Here's an opportunity, but a fine defensive effort. Curling in to deflect that out of play.
Doing 11 goals, 1 assist on the season. Comes from a soccer family. His father is an Air Force grad, Ted. He was on the wrestling team at the Air Force Academy. Older brother, Austin, graduated in 2019. All-American men's soccer player. Played for the Colorado Springs Switchbacks FC. Recently retired from soccer for the time being as he heads to pilot school.
Very impressive family. So that one's sent out. And from a corner kick to a throw in. They play it short to Remy Smith. Smith lost it. Here's Lincoln Aquino off to Elio Hahn. Kozak now. There's Mueller. Off to Cortez, and miscommunication. Was looking to give it off to Elio Hahn. Gonzalez in the center circle. Played off to Beecham. Quite the charge, and here a run for Staup. Was cut off, but Staup will be able to throw this in. Here's a strike at Premack, and he's able to retrieve that. Right at his chin was Nolan Premack, putting the oven mitts up and making the stop.
Premack listed on the roster at 6'4". He's a tall guy. He has athletic frame. Certainly a guy who does well in the air, commands his box well.
Mueller with a touch. Gonzalez. Elio Hahn was cut off. And guess who?
WAC Defensive Player of the Year, Agadou. It's a great knack for reading plays, and that comes with experience. That comes with minutes on the pitch. That was a great give-and-go effort by California Baptist. Credit to Agadou for reading that play and stopping a potential attack.
London has been everywhere. Throw in right at the midfield line. Aquino, a good touch. Mueller. To the 18, cut off. Bjarnason tipped over the top of the cage. It was Stone saving what would have been the first.
To get a hand on it, punch it over the crossbar. Incredible opportunity for California Baptist, thwarted by the goalkeeper.
Mueller with the unselfish play.
Yeah, that's a great through ball there, an opportunity, open shot, and just credit to Stone for making a big-time save. He's fired up, rightfully so.
They're not out of the woods yet. Mueller with a corner kick. It's headed up high, and again out of play, and we will repeat the same sequence.
It's one thing that head coach Doug Hill said, that Stone has a great vertical, something we just witnessed.
It's Mueller on the near side corner. The German, Mueller, nailed that one long. It's headed up and over the top yet again. And we will have a third consecutive corner kick. This will be the 6th corner of the evening for CVU. And again, Mueller will do the honors. A liner that's loose in front. Beecham could not handle, and it cycles out of the box. Gomez chips it back in and headed out of harm's way. Nicely done by the Falcons on those 3 corner kicks.
Really great defensive effort from the Falcons. That's one of the things that head coach Doug Hill said. He wanted to give up minimal set pieces. 6 corners for California Baptist. So far in this match, Air Force only having 1.
Mueller tried with the cross. Nobody was home. Right at the arc. Brian Gonzalez now. Gonzalez angling the center. And getting out far side, David Cordes. Just deflected out. See if the Falcons can go on a counterattack. They've got numbers. On a full sprint. Did a nice job getting back was Antonio Gomez. Just over 35 minutes to go, second half. Scoreless thus far. Lancers out shooting Air Force 10-3 overall. Shots on goal 3-2. Aquino. It's Bjarnason trying for another cross. A header finds the back of the net. A sensational cross. And it's Brian Iliohan who draws first blood. And it's 1-0 Lancers in the second half.
The Lancers have done an incredible job pushing the pace, generating offense, generating opportunities. This was an incredible goal for the Lancers to put them up 1-0 in a very close contest.
Iliohan will get the praise for the goal, but how about the assist from the junior out of Iceland, Jörg Bjarnason? Take a look at this cross.
Great job setting up this play. Incredible cross in the box. What a finish by Iliohan.
First team all WAC. 13 goals last season. Was disappointed with his performances at time this year, but closed out the regular season scoring in 3 of the final 4. And coming up with a huge goal here in the first 10 minutes of the second half to give the Lancers the lead on their home pitch.
The Lancers already came out with that intensity. They needed the goal to match it. They went 3 back-to-back-to-back corners. It's all about capitalizing on your opportunities. What a way to put a goal on the board.
Still an eternity to go in this one, but certainly a giant shot in the young history of this CVU program. A header by Iliohan. Now a foul and an injured Falcon, as Gonzalez and Vargas were not happy with the call. Tyler Johnson was the Falcon who was slow to get up. Luckily, he's able to trot back into play.
Certainly a lot at stake. This is a veteran Air Force team, 9 seniors on the roster, 9 seniors playing like this could potentially be their last match. A lot of passion, a lot of energy, a lot of physicality in this matchup.
One sent into the box. Premack will run forward and snatch it midair. And you've got to think the adrenaline in the junior Nolan Premack boosted up to level 10 after being given the lead just a few moments ago.
Certainly, and this is a team that wouldn't have been given that lead if he didn't make some significant saves.
Bjarnason took a mighty hit as he was running to cut off the Falcon, who's cutting with the ball. And Bjarnason, who has the assist on that goal, will be looked at as the clock stops with 33:12 to go.
There's so much physicality, so much passion between these two programs. Grabbing his head. Obviously, you hope he's all right.
He's a key player, someone who has shown up in this tournament in a big way.
A beautiful assist. I will tell you, when I played soccer, you know, those header goals are something that's so beautiful. And so when I was playing on the field, I did later switch back to a goalkeeper, but my father would say, if you make a header goal, I'll pay you $30. I never did. That's why I moved back to goalkeeper. Couldn't hit a broadside of a barn.
And potentially maybe that's why you're here today.
Exactly.
Up here in the booth. Here's Leo Mendez. Leo Hahn did not touch it. He knew he was offsides. That was a smart play. Air Force able to clear it momentarily, but it's now still in the box as that was actually deflected by Grady Kozak on a good hustle play. Falcons ultimately able to steady the water, and Jacob Stone will send this downfield.
Great composure from the junior. After that clearance did not go the way that he wanted, he still commanded his box. He came out, secured the ball, and then relaxed, played it out from the back. Played out with his feet, rather.
Mueller was taken down on that far side. Appears he's okay. By the way, still seeing Bjarnason back out there now as well. That is good news for California Baptist.
Certainly, he was grabbing his head, and so you never want to see that, especially as a head injury. Appears he's okay. Obviously, he's back on the pitch, and he's such a critical part of this offense. Also, his defense, too, the way he's able to get back on the pitch.
Easily could have had 2 assists already tonight. 2 great crosses. It's an offside against California Baptist. Second offside call on the Lancers. Just over 31 minutes to play in this one. If you're just joining us, we were scoreless at half. And CVU scoring just a few minutes ago. 3 minutes ago when Brian Iliohan headed it home off of an assist on a beautiful cross from Bjarnason.
7th goal of the season. He's just been a huge factor for this Lancer attack. Him and Lewis Mueller have been the 2 number 1 guys up there. But one of the things that head coach Co Michelson said is that Iliohan is a great finisher. He gets on the end of things, he puts the ball in the back of the net, and that's something we just saw. 1 opportunity, 1 goal.
Chaffetz. Headed out of harm's way defensively, as that was Antonio Gomez. And a corner kick for the Falcons, Remy Smith, junior from Cumming, Georgia. Set it up, and will actually give way to Angeletti, the senior from South Jordan, Utah, and Bingham High School. Angeletti puts his left foot into it. It was a good cross, but nobody was there for Air Force. Pino unable to clear it cleanly Another cross in front. Premack is there. Rifles it out with the right hand, and here comes CBU looking to counter. Mueller.
Air Force was so threatening on that far post. Premack going up and essentially stopping what was a great cross because that Air Force player was ready with the header right there. And so really good job from Premack commanding the box. He gets up in the air, he shows off his vertical abilities and continues to keep a clean sheet.
Here's Elio Hahn taking on 3 Falcons and sending it back out to Cordes. Mueller. Touch to Bjarnason. Here he is again. Same spot where he had the assist from. This time plays it short. It's Pino. Plays to center, and nobody was home to try to put it in. Gonzalez was in the area for California Baptist.
You see, he gives a thumbs up. It was a great ball, just a little bit slow from Gonzalez to be able to run onto that ball, but a really nice crossover. That's right to the far post. A great opportunity.
Leo Mendez back in for CBU's in there for Lewis Mueller, who no doubt will only be sitting for a few minutes. Lancers will have possession back. The top seed, the Air Force Falcons, who won their first 6 contests in conference play this year before a draw and a loss. In trouble here midway through this second half, trailing 1-0. Nice charge by Gomez. Cordes chips inside in the direction of Aquino. Nice job by the Falcons defensively. And a whistle as Bussey did grab the back of Bjarnason to try to gain possession. We had a good look at it from our vantage point up here.
Certainly the correct call from the official. You cannot use your arms in any way. You certainly cannot grab the opposing player, but that just comes down to, there's so much fight, there's so much passion. You just want to get in front of him, and sometimes you accidentally stick some limbs out.
Jacob, you should take some personal lessons by our guy Nolan. He'll be happy to help.
Great play to keep that alive in Air Force territory. Ultimately lost possession, but a whistle will come in from the side. And a foul against CBU.
Nicholas Bizagno with a nice leg up there to maintain possession.
Yeah, that was special. Great effort.
A lot of flexibility there. He got his leg up pretty high. It's pretty impressive. Very athletic.
Angeletti will take this free kick. 26 minutes to go in half number 2. The winner for the conference tournament final on Sunday afternoon. That's off, and a goal kick to come for the Lancers. That's just the kind of mistakes we've seen from Air Force offensively. Just not quite able to locate on some of those touches to line up potential shots.
Agadou coming all the way up from the defensive third up to the top. You gotta touch on it. Just an overall incredible soccer player, tactically sound, has the ability to control the ball from the air very well and also defend quite impressively.
Great job by Elio Hahn to set it up, and it's a second goal. An absolute showstopper. It's Leo Mendez again. It's 2-0 CBU.
Just an incredible sequence from the Lancers. They were able to break down that Air Force back line, find the open space. You have a one-on-one with the keeper, put that ball away just like that. It's 2-0. CBU has a ton of momentum right now. This home crowd is going wild. The CBU unicorn is out in effect.
Leo Mendez having himself a tournament to remember. A young man that comes off the bench for the Lancers. The junior from nearby Paris, California. Scores again. for CBU.
We talked about the spark that Leo Mendez provided for this team coming off the bench yesterday when CBU needed a goal. Here it is again.
Look at this play from Elio Hahn.
Such an impressive through ball. And then Mendez, the composure to cut in and then hit that near post. A great goal, great effort from this CBU offense. And Elio Hahn just showing that presence. That is an impressive play. The senior recognizing where players are on the pitch and how to find those lanes.
Kendra, we talked about the pressure Air Force could be feeling at 1-0, and certainly plenty of time to go. But this #1 seed in trouble against the ropes, down 2-0, under 25 minutes to go. And we will see the resolve of this group without a doubt.
Certainly 2-0, of course, the most dangerous lead in college soccer, like we spoke about earlier in that first semifinal match when San Jose State was up 2-0. But the Lancers have just come out with a different level of intensity. That's one of the things that's really tough when you look at a #1 seed, a team that locks in that bye, that doesn't have that momentum. Will they come out with intensity? And so far, we just haven't seen that from the Falcons. Need some urgency, need to generate that offense, but it's credit to the Lancers in stopping and thwarting all possible attacks.
Gonzalez try to give and go to Bjarnason, could not connect. A duo of Falcon reinforcements will come in. Zanyo will check out, along with Matt Benson. And Luke Hill along with Staup, Kobe Staup back in to the fold. Bjarnason again, all over the field, making an impact. Naturally, as these thoughts start creeping in, but for California Baptist, a 4-year transition period. They couldn't even compete in this tournament. They qualified for it a couple of times. It did not matter. Now in year 1, playing in front of this crowd on their home field and a chance to knock off the #1 seed and clinch a ticket to the finals. What a moment it is for this program. And under 23 minutes away from doing so in a 2-goal advantage. Vargas. It's Bjarnason. Aquino.
That's one of the aspects of transitioning from a D2 school to a D1 is not being able to be eligible for that postseason conference tournament. This is a team that in 2017 had gone to the Division II tournament, conference tournament, and you know, after that, you're looking at a team who knows that for the next 4 years, they're not going to be eligible. It's a really tough spot to put players in. And it's interesting as the college landscape changes because this rule was essentially in place to get Division II teams, that 4-year transition period, to get up to that level of those Division I programs. And now a lot of times we're not seeing that. We're seeing teams that are transitioning in their first year to Division I, and they're competing at that high level. They're contenders for titles, and that's one of the things that our WAC commissioner Brian Thornton is pushing, to allow some of these transitioning schools to be able the chance to at least play in our conference tournament.
And you mentioned that, Kendra, no conference has really felt that more than the WAC, of course, even dating back to GCU when they made the transition. CBU, Tarleton State, Utah Tech, so many examples in this league. And there have been examples outside of this conference as well of teams that simply have been excellent but have not been able to compete in postseason play due to that rule. But the training wheels are off, as some people have talked about it here. The Lancers are full competitors and showing it here tonight, still 20 minutes away. Vargas. Gonzalez able to step through. Get off to Cordes. A solid touch to the wing on the far side. Lancer defense also needs to be given a lot of praise. The offense has stepped up with 2 sensational highlight reel goals in this second half. But the defense has done a great job. Here's another opportunity, but an offside.
This is a Lancer defense that has produced 6 shutouts this season, pre-MAC, 5 shutouts on the year. This is a defense that knows how to read offensive attacks very well. They've done a great job thwarting a lot of Air Force's opportunities. And then it helps when you have that guy pre-MAC in net for you.
Stone came out to retrieve it, and we've talked about it a lot in that first half. Got to mention it again if you're just joining us. Air Force going with Jacob Stone in net after an injury, and Stone just his second start of the season in such a big setting, such a big environment. Made a couple of great saves in the first half. There's a cross that's too strong and out of play, but certainly that is an aspect that needs to be addressed.
Second collegiate start. In general, this is a guy that didn't play his freshman year. He didn't play his sophomore year. He appeared in 4 matches this season, one of them starting against Grand Canyon, where the Falcons were able to defeat GCU 2-0. And head coach Doug Hill said that a lot of trust was built just in one game, and it certainly adds to it when 10 minutes into the contest, you make a big time save like he did. So a great future is certainly ahead for this young man.
He hopes that future carries into Sunday as Lewis Mueller checks back in for Lincoln Aquino. Mendez on a full sprint. Here's Robson, still battling for that ball. Here's Mueller, a shot, deflected on top of the net. And Lewis Mueller was oh so close to making it 3-0.
Lewis Mueller taking a shot from way out, but a great look, a great shot on frame, just inside the 18-yard box, but credit to Stone, that's a big time save, getting up there and punching that over the crossbar.
Heck of a save by Stone. And Mueller will get right back into the action and take the Lancers' 7th corner kick of the evening. Hits it with the left, didn't quite strike that the way he would have wanted to. Sent out of play. And a throw in for California Baptist.
Stone's a guy who has played under Byzewski all season, finally getting his opportunity, and certainly a guy that's making the most of it. This is a guy that has an incredible future ahead. He's a great shot stopper, and he's only going to continue to get better as he gets more minutes on the pitch.
Mueller. Stepping through trouble. Cycling off in the direction of Cordes, who could not catch up to that, out of play.
The other component to Stone's game, as I've been watching him throughout this first half and as we carry into this second half, is one of the things that head coach Doug Hill mentioned. He would like to see him communicate more. And, you know, that's just going to come as he plays more minutes. But you can see him get more comfortable. He's learning to direct this back line. That's tough to do when you come in and you don't make that many starts and you're dealing with a veteran line. And he's doing a great job so far and continuing to improve.
Emil DeConnick just checked in for California Baptist. Under 16 minutes to play in regulation. Here's Johnson. Had it taken away by Mueller. Lancers on a charge. Mueller stopped momentarily, and a fine job defensively by Jake Angeletti to stop what looked like a dangerous situation. Bourgeois. Falcons looking to get on the board. Here's a cross over the top of Premack and over everything.
Premack was in great positioning for it. He didn't get a hand on it, but he was right there, so it'll be a goal kick. But incredible positioning to be able to potentially stop a dangerous situation. Great look for Air Force, though.
Greg Hill will check in for the academy. In there for Nick Bourgeois. Hill, another hometown product from Colorado Springs.
Jacob, welcome to Riverside. We still don't like you. How do you like Riverside? You hate
With each passing second, the moment's getting bigger and bigger, everything more critical. The spotlight on this one right here. The winner gets the 2-seed San Jose State on Sunday at 1 o'clock. We'll have it for you right here on ESPN+.
That's one of those things as you look at a chance generated by Air Force. Something that head coach Doug Hill had mentioned, that when they had that lone loss in the conference play to Seattle U, they didn't capitalize on those chances. He said it could have been 4-0, and they just weren't able to put the ball away.
Here's Robson. Robson gets the corner, crosses, and a nice save by Stone. You mentioned that, and it could have been 4-0. Different story tonight, as Air Force has struggled to get things together offensively. Now, who knows if that's a rust factor, if credit needs to be given to California Baptist, but so far, 77 minutes in, it has been a decided advantage for CBU.
A lot of credit has to be given to the way that California Baptist is playing. They're pressing so high up the pitch. They're applying pressure all over. These guys are a team that played just 2 nights ago. Their legs are tiring, and they're certainly not showing it. They're not letting up. They're relentless.
Pino deflects it out, and some frustration shown there from Tyler Johnson.
This is also a team that, if you talk to head coach Co Michelson, he said that UTRGV 3-1 loss during conference play was a turning point for this season. He said, you know, this is a season that could go one of 2 ways. It's really important to take this loss, learn from it, learn how to put goals away, again, learn how to capitalize on your chances, similar to Air Force. And it really changed the trajectory of this season when you look back at it.
And that was the turning point when we talked to him about it, the lone loss this season on this field for CBU. 7-1-2 at home. The advantage of playing this tournament where they have been so good. DeConnick. A touch to Gonzalez.
Head coach Co Michelson is 6th season with the Lancers, and you look at what he's able to do with this program, not just soccer-wise, but also academically. When they took over this program, it was a 2.923 cumulative GPA to last year's 3.466.
Robson's bumped out of the way. Bjarnason fighting for it in a physical play over on this near side. DeConnick still has it in play. Now it's Robson. A little too strong on that attempt, but you mention it. And that's something this staff and the upper administration here as well, they take great pride in that, as does every athletic program around the country, of course, but raising that cumulative GPA up and shows the kind of leadership that Michelson and the rest of his staff have here.
That discipline it takes to play college at the highest level and also stay focused in the classroom. It's often forgotten how busy these student athletes are between practice, between traveling on the road, keeping your grades up. A lot of the times when these student athletes are on the road, they are either taking tests on the road or they have to do their work in advance. So imagine, you know, what it was like when you're in college and you have all this work, and then picture practice on top of that, and sometimes having to do things even further in advance in order to make sure everything is done before those road games. Just an incredible testament for both sides, Air Force as well.
Free kick from right in front of the midfield line. Sent over to the near side for Tyler Johnson. Johnson still battling. Elio Hahn will end up with it. He has a goal. Here's Robson. And a really solid defensive play by Wills Burns. Elio Hahn went down, did not get the call, and Air Force moving on. Now a whistle. 10:20 to go. Gonzalez fighting so hard for possession. Both of these sides emptying the tank here in the final 10 minutes. Air Force needs 2 goals to draw even.
Air Force with just 2 shots on goal this entire matchup have really looked out of sync, out of rhythm. And that's just a credit to California Baptist and that defensive effort.
There's no question about that. Will be a goal kick for CBU. And the mentality change. Knowing that CBU is rooting on this clock to go as quick as possible. Air Force needing 2 goals and still have time to do it without a doubt.
See the line official signaling, come on, come on. You want to try and run off the clock, of course, as much as you can if you're Nolan Premack, but there's a limit. You can't just sit there with the ball, letting Premack know, hey, it's time to get the ball off.
Can't just sit on it as much as they would love to. Gonzalez, a touch to Robson, who has some space. Here's Lewis Mueller. Dangerous player in open space. Tried to cross over to Elio Hahn and could not find him. Now it's Angeletti. But a fine defensive play by Antonio Gomez, who boots it out of the stadium. Went over the wall there on the east side, the southeast side of this new complex. Lincoln Aquino back for CBU. He's in there for Robson, who did a fine job. 8:05 to play. Elio Hahn on a full sprint. And Tyler Johnson and Brian Elio Hahn just tangled, and there will be a card given. And emotions running high here in the closing stages of this one. A yellow card has been shown to Tyler Johnson, the senior. And a yellow card has also been shown to Elio Hahn. So, dueling yellow cards to Elio Hahn and Johnson, and the clock stops with 7:42 to play.
So take a look at that. Yeah, just a lot of contact there. And yeah, well, what I originally thought was maybe he got him late, but no, he just kind of fell over. But of course, you know, emotions are high, and then there's a lot of talking amongst the players.
And to give the double yellow cards out there, I think it's more of a, all right, guys, something happened there, but let's move on.
I think it was certainly the right call. I mean, that was a tough situation. A lot of contact, not a lot of ball in there. And a little bit of acting, as you're right, there wasn't any contact there. At least from this angle that I saw.
Sure.
Of course, that wasn't me out there, so I won't for certain say, but you do try and get what you can.
It's part of the game.
It is.
It really is. There was contact as Premack went up to try to save that, and he'll be helped out, aided by a whistle.
Premack, though, did a great job of going up, commanding that box, and keeping the ball from potentially a dangerous Air Force aerial attack.
We mentioned the physicality and how that will be a factor through this matchup, and it's blooming up without a doubt as time goes on in this one.
Center official gonna give Premack a yellow card for the way that he reacted to that situation. You really got to maintain your composure. Emotions are going to be running high, but you have to remember that. Premack, you're up 2-0 right now.
So the
Maintain
second
that
card.
composure. Yeah, just a short amount of time. Things are certainly heating up. Really important, especially Air Force, having those veteran players kind of to rely on them to calm down the situation. A lot is going on extracurricular-wise on this field right now.
You think these guys don't want it on both sides. 6 minutes and 30 seconds away from the end of regulation, from a full 90 minutes. Eliohan. He was cut off. Again, it was Tyler Johnson. And it will be a throw in for the Lancers. I'll say this, regardless of how the final 6 minutes goes, these will be must-watch matchups next year as well.
Certainly, both programs, especially Air Force, you know, they were a team that won the WAC championship 2 years ago. They went to the NCAA postseason tournament. CBU, now officially eligible, has been a contender in their transition period. Both programs to watch in the future.
And after a physical, important matchup like this, has all the makings of potentially a newfound rivalry as well. Angeletti cleared by Bjarnason. That will take some more precious seconds off the clock.
The other part is that you're looking at an Air Force squad with 9 seniors. This potentially being their last match. They're going to give it everything that you have, and you can't ask anything more of college students. Those emotions are going to be running high. Physicality, of course, has been the name of the match, and with the time dwindling down, they just want to give it everything they have. There's so much passion here.
Bjarnason steps up. Under 5 to play. The situation at hand, Air Force with just 2 shots on goal this entire match. They need to cash 2 in the final 4:40 in order to extend this. Pino. Drawn away. Lancer defense still holds strong. It's Jordan Lane. Played it conservatively off to Pino. Lancers 4 minutes away. And it's Eliohan. Eliohan. A strike. Off the post. Wow. That from distance and nearly ended it.
A great look from a distance. Eliohan is not a player who's going to shy away from the potential to take a shot if he has an open look, even from outside that 18-yard box. That was a great look on frame. Just missing, hitting that post. One of the things that I noticed in that first matchup against Utah Valley was the way the Lancers continued to play the full 90 minutes. They never let up, and that's on all areas of the pitch. That's on that attacking third. Everywhere, this defense, or this offense starts from their defense, and it shows.
Jacob, you let your seniors down!
Bussey needs to make something happen here for the Falcons. Bussey to Johnson. Chipped wide, and guess who? Nolan Premack soaring up in the red and triggering it down off to his left. Across the midfield line and 3:15 to play.
That's a great read by Premack. He's about 16 yards out. That's really far, and he was able to come up, command the box, and take away a potential situation. He's done a great job of that this entire matchup, really this entire tournament.
Vargas to center lane. Under 3 minutes to play. And it's Premack now, who will rifle that out of play. Luke Hill throws it in. He's got possession. Hill with a touch. .2:30 to go, and the Falcons still looking for that first goal to cut it to within 1. Is there a late rally in them, or will CBU, the hometown Cinderella story, pull off a consecutive upset and clinch a spot in the title game? Pino sent way downfield. There's a Lancer down. Last thing CBU wants is the clock to stop, but for an injury, of course, it's a different situation. We will play on. Tyler Johnson gets around Aquino. Johnson on the near side wing. Gonzalez steps in front, and he will get it out of play as still no whistle to stop. And it's Anthony Vargas who is up and limping now. And we will continue on. 90 seconds to play.
Another interesting call there by the officials, letting that one play on as that Lancer was clearly down right near the box.
Headed out of the box. 1:10 to go, and here's Leo Mendez, who scored the second goal for CBU. Mendez has it drawn away. Here comes Air Force. 60 seconds. These home fans starting to smell it. What this will mean to the program, to the soccer community of Riverside and the greater Inland Empire. 45 seconds to go. Clock stops. Premack sends it out. Here's another opportunity. It's Robson with an exclamation point. No, just wide. Under 30 seconds to go. It might not matter, but Robson nearly made it 3-0. Here's Bussey. 15. Talk about an introduction. Postseason eligible, and now off to the final. California Baptist has upset the #1 seed Air Force Falcons and move on to the WAC championship game in their first ever opportunity to do so.
An overall incredible